I'm going to show you everything you need to know about batteries in this game, from how to upgrade them, the fastest ways to do it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So in order to upgrade your batteries, you're going to have to return to the Great Sky Island right here on the map. You can go to the Nachoya Shrine. There's this steward construct right here. And if you bring him a certain item, the crystallized charges, then he can upgrade your battery cells. Now you'll see my battery cells on the right. One of them is blue and the rest are green. Well, what happens with that is you can have 8 sets of 3. And after that, you can continue to upgrade, and then you can get another 8 sets of 3, and then it'll double stack as blue bars instead of green bars. So in order to upgrade this, you need 100 crystallized charge for each 1/3 of a battery. So in this case, I have 200, and I can talk to this person, and I can dump them in all at once and get 2 cells, which will increase my second 3 green bars into 2 blue and 1 green. So effectively, I have 9 2/3 now after this upgrade. So now the question of how do we get crystallized charges, and there are actually a few different ways to do it, and I'm going to show you not only the ways to do it, but also tell you what the best ways to do it are. So the first thing you'll want to do to upgrade these is you're going to want to go to this place. This is the Great Abandoned Central Mine. In order to get here, you can go south of Lookout Landing and go to this hole in the ground or this hole in the ground, and then from there you can work your way over to here. Ideally, you're going to go into this hole in the ground. And then work your way over to the Great Abandoned Central Mine. There'll be a quest here. It's how you get the auto build feature. And then after that, you'll have access to this forge where you can spend zonaite in order to buy large crystallized charges and crystallized charges. Normal zonaite will buy crystallized charge, which I don't really recommend doing. The main thing you're going to want to do is spend large zonaite in order to buy the large crystallized charges. That's generally a better option. And then you can save your zonaite for auto build, which is way more fun, a better way to play the game. There's also a second one of these shops like this that I found, and it's all the way over here at the Mimufis light route, way down here on the map. The only way to get here is to drop in this hole up by the Rebella Wetland Skyview Tower and then work your way down there. But there's also a second one you can go and buy from, which is nice because it takes 5 to 10 minutes for these to restock. Although realistically, getting more than 15 large zonaite per 5 minutes is not really that reasonable to do, but it's nice to have 2 shops. And this is not the only way to get crystallized charges. There's other ways to get crystallized charges as well. One of them being fighting bosses. So I've marked on the map these different skulls, and there's way more than the marks that I've put down. But every one of these skulls I marked is a boss. Additionally, you'll find camps around here, like this one right here, or there's one over here somewhere. You'll see them in different places. It's easier to see them when you're actually on the ground as opposed to looking on the map. And there will be the enemies there, humanoid enemies, and if you kill them all, you can loot a chest that gives you a large crystallized charge, 20 crystallized charge effectively. But those are one-time only usage, but you can go and collect all of them if you want. Now, before I show you the farming routes for this stuff, you're really going to want to make the flying device. So in order to make the flying device, you're going to want to get 2 fans, and you're going to want a steering stick. And what you can do is you can take these 2 fans and you can put them on the ground like this, and then you can take the steering stick and tilt it back at a 45-degree angle and attach it to one of these. You want to get it as centered as possible though, so maybe like right there, and then grab this one and then put it as symmetrical as you can like that. And then once you have this, you're going to go to your auto build and you're going to favorite it. Now I already have one favorited up here, but this will spend 9 zonaite in order to build it from your auto build. So if I go in my auto build and I just build it from scratch, it's 9 zonaite in order to build. And then I can easily make this flying device where if I hold forward, I go forward. If I hold left, I go left. If I touch anything, I get stuck though, so be careful with that. We can take this thing though, and we can fly around and collect zonaite and crystallized charge. We can get to the bosses with it extremely fast. Having this will speed up the process of upgrading your batteries significantly. So use this to fly around to farm zonaite and to fight bosses. So first, let's look at a zonaite farm, and then we'll look at the boss farm. So for the zonaite farm, the very first thing you're going to want to do is go to the Koradat light route, which is right next to Great Abandoned Central Mine. And right next to this, you can teleport here every hour or 2. And every hour or 2, all of the zonaite spots respawn. So you can see down there, there's actually none right there. I just mined them. But there'll be a bunch down in there. I'll just show you where they are, even though they're not here right this second. But you come here every hour or 2. And you can mine a bunch of them right here, and there'll be some enemies guarding them. You kill the enemies, they also drop zonaite. And then after that, you'll head over down into this ditch, this hole in the ground, and there will be a few different spots you can farm down here. So there'll be a hole over here to the right where 2 of them can spawn there. And then there's a hole right back here where more of them can spawn right there. And and then there's 3 down the bottom, and you'll be able to farm all those. Once you're done with that, if you want to keep farming zonaite, there's a bunch of good options. What I recommend doing is this whole section right here, because all of the camps are really weak. So I usually just start at the Nogu Kyok light route, and from there I use the flyer to fly around and killing the camps and mining all the zonaite. So from this light route, you can just fly over to these camps. You'll see they're guarded by enemies. If you want, you can try to not even fight the enemies, and instead you can just go for the actual ores and just run around and grab them all. It depends on what weapons you have and what way you want to do it. But you can just run around, grab these. You might want to bring some Sundelions in order to reduce gloom, or just periodically teleport back to a light route. And then once you're done grabbing all of the... once you're done grabbing all the zonaite, which I haven't even grabbed at all, but once you're done, you'll just grab your flying device, and you'll set it back up, and you'll get on it, and you'll fly away, and you'll head over to the next one, and you ideally want to mark these out on your map. So these crystal marks that I put down, this can get you started, but there's way more than this, and all the enemies in these areas are extremely weak compared to the later areas in the depths. You just run around from area to area mining zonaite and get a ton of it, and then go turn it in order to get more crystallized charges. The next way is really good if you have decent weapons to use, is you can go around and hunt these bosses. And like I said before, I've marked some on the map. A good one is up here, even though it's hard to get over here because there's nowhere to fall in from the ground. But you can find these bosses all over, and what I recommend is whenever you find them, you just mark them with a skull icon stamp. So you can press A and then put the skull icon wherever. And for me, as I find them, I've been marking them. And there's way more than what I have marked. There's significantly more. So just keep an eye out for them. So in order to fight them, it's actually not so bad. So the easiest way to kill these guys is to get above them with a flyer and then jump off and glide. And then what you can do is you can get in front of them, and then you can slow time and take a shot at their eye. If you hit them in the eye, then it'll stun them. And then you can get on their back and start breaking these things on their back. And that is how you damage these guys. And then, if once you hit them enough, he'll flip you up into the sky. So right here in a second, he'll flip me up soon. You'll see him start shaking. And he'll try to eat me. So what I have to do is glide. And then go past his eyeball like this. And then pull up my bow. And then just shoot him in the eye again. And then pull out my glider. And then land on his back again. And just keep on killing him. If you do that, it's super easy to kill him. But if somehow you find yourself on the ground with him and you're stuck like this, the easiest way to get back on him is to wait for some downtime between one of his attacks and then combine an arrow with one of the eyeballs, the Kese eyeballs, and then point it upwards above him, and it'll come down into his eye, and then you can climb up on his arm and get on his back again, and then keep doing what you were doing before. Ideally, though, you just come in from above right out of the gate, and then you don't have to deal with any of that. But it's up to you which way. But that's the easiest way to beat the FROXes. And once you defeat a boss in the depths, they'll drop a bunch of zonaite, but they'll also drop a large crystallized charge like that, which gives you 20 more crystallized charge. So it's a good way to just farm them. It's honestly maybe faster than the large zonaite. Another boss that you'll find down here are stone taluses. Now, sometimes these will come in ice variants as well. The easiest way to deal with these guys is to just run and dodge the arm throws from left to right, and then get behind them, and then climb up their back. Now, they'll have a stone that you break, and it's in a different place for each one. This one's one of the easier ones, but sometimes they'll be on their back, and you have to, like, climb up and around and land on it and stand on it. And also you have to be careful to get off before they do that, or else you'll take some damage. Now, a fun trick for these guys, if they're not the ice one, is you can just crouch under them like that, and then climb up on their back like that. Now, if they're made of ice, you're going to have to shoot them with a fire arrow, or else you won't be able to damage them. You won't be able to climb them at all. So if it is one of the ice ones, you'll just pull out an arrow, and you'll look for the fire thing, the fire fruit, and you'll shoot them in the body or in the hand, and then that will take the ice off of them. And the last boss that you'll find in the depths are FLUX constructs, which are the best ones to fight down here because they also drop zonaite charges. And once you fought them enough times, they're actually the easiest of the bosses to fight, even if it's a FLUX construct 3. So in order to fight these guys, you're supposed to find that glowing piece and take it off. But another thing you can do is just start tearing pieces off. When it attacks like this, you just dodge it, look for that piece and tear it off. But if you do tear off enough normal pieces, it'll also collapse eventually. And then once it comes down like this, you're going to beat on it. And then it'll change forms. And there's 2 other forms. there's a block form and there's a flying form. The flying form's the most dangerous. What you want to do is just get a bunch of distance from it and then wait. And then try to not get hit by those and die. And then climb on one and use recall on it. And this will take you back up to it and let you defeat it. And now also, if it goes into the block form, then in the block form, what you can do is you just pull pieces off as fast as you can, and it'll eventually deconstruct it. Or if you can get lucky enough when it's in block form to grab the green piece, you can just pull the green piece out. But these drop zonaite charges, and if it's a level 3 one, it can also drop a large zonaite charge with it, which I don't think it did this time unless I wasn't paying attention. But that's more large crystallized charges. And the last way in the depths to get crystallized charges is going to these bandit camps like this and defeating the enemies, especially the one that is glowing red like that. And that'll open up a door that you can go inside of with a treasure chest. I've already done this one once, so it's not going to do the animation, but it'll play an animation that this door is open now. And you can go inside these doors. There'll be 2 chests. Usually the left one has a large crystallized charge in it, which is 20 crystallized charge. And then the right one will have a schematic for some random building thing. Usually they're all garbage, though, but you never know. So that is the last main way. But you'll also find chests just randomly here and there that'll have large crystallized charges that have nothing to do with these camps. You might just be out somewhere and there'll be a chest inside of a tree or something with 20 crystallized charge, or at an abandoned mine shaft or something like that. Additionally, if you need more zonaite farms, you can also go to a few places down here. There's some mines. So you can drop in here and then go to this right here, the Yukot Light Route. There's a bunch of zonaite ores all around it. And there's also a mine up here with a bunch there. If you head south, there's also these mines down here. There's some zonaite chunks around this one. And there's some zonaite chunks around this, the Tuft Canyon mine down in the bottom right of the map. Additionally, another good one is over here at the abandoned Gerudo mine. If you just go south of here, there's a camp right here of those lizard enemies and bokoblins, or bokoblins. And right next to them, there's a whole bunch of zonaite just up along a ridge for you to mine as well. So that's another good one to hit up sometime as well. And once you're all done farming zonaite, don't forget to come back to the great abandoned central mine and buy more large crystallized charges. And then again, in order to turn them in, you're just going to head back to the Nachuya Shrine up on the Great Sky Island, and you'll go to the Steward Construct there and turn them in for more energy wells so you can expand your battery. And that about wraps it up. That's the main ways. Occasionally you'll find large crystallized charges up above the depths in the normal world, in a chest somewhere, stuff like this, like that. But the most consistent way is to come down here. This is hands down the fastest way. So just look for bosses, mark them on the map, look for those mines, mark them on the map. Do it around the Great Central Mine when you go to kill the enemies, and that's the easiest zonaite to get because the enemies are the weakest around there. So get that, turn it in for large zonaite, kill the bosses for crystallized charge, and then go turn it in the Nachuya Shrine, and then you'll have the max battery upgrade before you know it in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.